Channel News Asia.
East Asian powers urged a quick restart of North Korean nuclear talks, with China saying the door is open to make real progress. An extraordinary general meeting with a dramatic result. Members of Malaysia's biggest ethnic Chinese political party reject their party president and refuse to reinstate their deputy president. And a brazen attack on Pakistan's army headquarters a day after a deadly suicide bombing. Good evening, I'm Gerard Lam and this is Asia Today. The leaders of China, Japan and South Korea are urging the early resumption of six-party talks aimed at ending North Korea's nuclear ambitions. Their united front came after a rare three-way summit in Beijing. China's Premier Wen Jiabao hosted new Japanese Prime Minister Yukio Hatoyama and South Korean President Lee Myung-bak.
It may well take an apparent overture from a commonly perceived threat to bring these three East Asian powers together.
朝方不仅希望同美国改善关系，也希望同日本和韩国改善关系。这是我访问得到的最重要的印象。
The Chinese premier briefed his Japanese and South Korean counterparts on his trip to Pyongyang last week. He says North Korean leader Kim Jong-il is showing signs of flexibility, though in the form of a statement that Pyongyang could return to multi-party nuclear talks on conditions. The North wants to see progress in any two-way talks with Washington. North Korea is likely to send a key diplomat to the US later this month. Observers speculate it could lay the groundwork for possible direct talks with Washington. The Chinese premier says time is running out to make progress.
要抓住机遇，用好机遇，我们就可能继续取得积极的进展。如果错过机遇，今后可能就要花费更大的气力。
Both South Korea and Japan say they are open to engaging North Korea as long as the overtures lead back to the six-party disarmament talks.
저는 환영을 합니다. 대한민국은 항상 열린 마음으로 있습니다. 그러나 남북한이 만나는 것의 최종 목표도 결국은 북한이 핵을 포기하는 것이다. 저는 이렇게 생각을 하고 북한이 핵을 포기한다는 것이 전제가 됐을 때 서로 북한이 원하는 여러 가지 협력을 할 수 있다.
But while the three countries have reportedly agreed to seek a grand bargain to offer North Korea incentives for it to drop its nuclear arms, Pyongyang has already panned such an idea as ridiculous. Apart from dealing with North Korea, the leaders say they will cooperate on crucial climate talks in Copenhagen at the end of the year. They're also looking for closer economic cooperation.
今までややもするとアメリカに依存しすぎていた、そんな日本であったと思います。日米の同盟は重要だと考えながら、しかし一方でやはり私どもアジアの一国としてアジアをもっと重視する
Mr. Hatoyama's comments come as Seoul and Beijing agree to consider a free trade deal. This meeting's show of unity underscores the growing pull for the three powers to set aside their differences and seek common ground.
A group of South Korean activists have released balloons toward North Korea containing information denouncing its leader Kim Jong-il. This comes as North Korea marks the 64th anniversary of its ruling Communist Party. The balloons are stuffed with portable radios, cash and anti-communist leaflets. Just last year, North Korea threatened to carry out military strikes against the South if activists continue to send propaganda leaflets criticizing the regime. Malaysia's biggest ethnic Chinese political party has held an extraordinary general meeting to decide who they want as their party president. The leadership tussle saw members taking sides with Malaysian Chinese Association Party President Mr. Ong Tee Kiat and his opponent, former Deputy President Dr. Chua Soy-lek. But in a vote on key resolutions, delegates have rejected Mr. Ong as party president. They have also voted not to reinstate Dr. Chua as deputy president. The vote of no confidence against Mr. Ong passed by just 14 votes. Now, the delegates also voted for Dr. Chua to remain only as a member and not as deputy president. Dr. Chua had earlier told reporters that he would accept any decision made. The former health minister was sacked by the MCA's presidential council last month over a sex video that's said to have smeared the party's image. Since then, Dr. Chua and his supporters have been trying to stage a comeback. In other news, several suspected militants have attacked Pakistan's army headquarters in Rawalpindi. They killed 4 guards and triggered a gun battle which left 4 gunmen dead. Military officials say 2 of the attackers are still on the loose. Reports say the gunmen, wearing army uniforms, drove a van to a main gate at the tightly guarded headquarters. They opened fire and threw at least 1 grenade when challenged. The gunmen then exchanged fire with soldiers for about 40 minutes. The brazen attack came as the army prepares a major offensive against Pakistani Taliban militants in their northwestern stronghold on the Afghan border. The violence also came a day after a suspected suicide car bomber killed 49 people in the city of Peshawar. French agents have arrested an engineer working at a nuclear research lab on the Franco-Swiss border. The engineer is suspected of being in contact with the Al-Qaeda militant network and planning terror attacks. The suspect worked at the European Organization for Nuclear Research, or CERN. He is one of a pair of brothers arrested on Thursday. Officials say the suspect had expressed a desire to carry out attacks, but he was not at the preparation stage. CERN says the engineer is not an employee. He performed his research under contract with an external institute. CERN says the suspect's work did not bring him into contact with anything that could be used for terrorism. Floodwaters from Tropical Storm Parma have receded from much of the northern Philippines, but the death toll has risen past 180. Officials estimate the total damage at more than $60 million. President Gloria Arroyo has ordered troops to clear roads of mud in the mountainous northern provinces. Benguet is one of the areas affected, with Baguio City there totally cut off by rock slides. Elsewhere, about 80% of Pangasinan province on the northwestern coast is flooded. The waters reach as high as the second floor of buildings. Officials have made urgent pleas for rubber boats and helicopters to rescue those stranded by the floods. Palma first hit the Philippines last Saturday. It hovered around northern Luzon throughout the week. It has since weakened into a tropical depression and moved out to sea. Palma makes landfall exactly a week after another tropical storm, Ketsana, battered the country. At least 500 people have been killed by the 2 typhoons. Now, why is Asia susceptible to such natural disasters, and what's being done to ensure the region is prepared? Those issues will be in a special Channel News Asia program on the disasters that have struck the region recently. Catch our special program, Disaster Asia, Monday, right after primetime news at 9:30 p.m. Singapore, Hong Kong time. Still ahead on Asia Today, boon or bane for US President Barack Obama? Scrutiny on his performance gains intensity after his Nobel Peace Prize win.
All for water, water for all. Peace.
And out of this world performance, this clown pulls together some of the world's most popular entertainers to push for clean water on Earth. Stay tuned.